I'm not in the Lake District this week, I am in the beautiful Chiltern Hills, and I'm here to photograph the woodland and the amazing autumn colour that you get here. And I'm going to try and be the first ever photographer in the history of YouTube to do a woodland photography video without using the words order and chaos. I'm starting this week off at Coombe Hill, which sits just above the town of Wendover. And there is a fantastic monument, a monument to the soldiers that died in the Boer War, I believe. And that's a great shot, and you get fantastic views of the Vale of Aylesbury. But unfortunately, it is blowing an absolute gale out there at the moment. It's absolutely freezing. I think it's colder down here in the south than it is back home up in the north. So I've retreated back into the woods to find a little bit of shelter. I'm not alone today. I'm with a friend of mine called Mike, and we're just going to spend a little bit of time exploring these woodlands and see if we can pick out any compositions that we like. Mike's just stopped. He's found a composition that he's working on. Now for me, one of my principal beliefs about photography is that each photograph should have a primary subject to act as a focal point. And that's why I find woodland photography so difficult. It's very difficult to pick out a subject and isolate it, particularly from its background. I think that's why a lot of woodland photographers get so excited about mist. But what I've been looking for patterns, and I actually find myself looking up into the canopies more than around on the ground. Mike and I have been wandering around now for about half an hour, and we've been chatting as we've been going. We've been talking about compositions, but I've had something very specific in mind. When I first arrived, the first thing that my eye was drawn to was the wavy patterns that you get up in the canopies with the beech trees, and so I've been looking for that specific shot. What I've been looking for is a gap in the trees with some beech trees in the distance, so that I can get almost like a flat line of trees. And it's taken me a while to find anything that kind of works. Now I have got a shot here. It's not exactly what I was after, and what I'm going for here is the patterns. Now I'm not sure if this shot is going to work, but if we don't try, then we don't know and we don't learn. And I learn a lot more from my mistakes than I do from my successes. And also, if we don't take the odd bad photo every now and then we're probably not pushing ourselves hard enough. So Mike and I have come on from where we were earlier at Coombe Hill. We're now at a place called Wendover Woods. We came on, we got a cup of coffee and warmed up a little bit. And Wendover Woods is a place that I used to come as a child. I suppose I should mention that the reason I'm here in the Chilterns is this is the area that I was brought up in. I was born in Aylesbury in Buckinghamshire, and I lived there with my wife up until 2010 when we moved north. And so at the minute I'm back down visiting family, actually staying with my dad for the week. So anyway, we've come to Wendover Woods, very different to what I remember. And now Mike's going to interview me for his podcast. And if you're interested in listening to that, I will put a link in the description below. But I think it's worth saying that I hope it doesn't take too long, because it is bleeding Baltic here today.
For listeners who don't know you, could you explain what your channel's about?
So I am a landscape photographer, pure landscape photographer, and I live in the Lake District. And I have been doing my YouTube channel now for about 2.5 years. But I recently left my full-time job. I used to work in IT, I used to work for Sky. I recently left that so that I could focus on my photography and attempt to turn professional as a landscape photographer. And so at the moment my channel is charting that process. Right, finished that interview with Mike. Really enjoyed doing it actually. We talked a bit about my history as a photographer, my background, some of my key principles and beliefs, and Nothing I like more than talking about myself, so I quite enjoyed that. If you're interested in listening to that in full, I will put a link to it in the description below. And let me know what you think. You can get in touch through any of my social media channels. Let me know what you think, because Mike and I have been talking about maybe doing some more stuff together. So if you liked it, let me know. If it's autumn colour you're after, then today's venue might just be the ticket. This is Ashridge Estate near the town of Berkhamsted, and as you can see, autumn is in full swing. So let's go and see what we can find. As you can no doubt see, Ashridge is packed full of the beech trees that the Chilterns are famous for. And once again, this is another location that I knew when I was growing up. I actually went to school just down the road in a town called Tring. I haven't had to look too hard to find my first shot of the day. As I've been walking along the path, I've come to this bridge. And what I like about this bridge is it draws the eye to the tree in the distance. And I like that, that's really effective. I like paths, and they tell a story and they draw you in. And this is very similar. Now, although the colour doesn't feature as the primary subject, it's all around the edge of the frame, which helps the overall atmosphere of the shot. I love the base of this old oak tree, the way that it kind of spreads out right from the very bottom. I think that's quite unusual. They're pretty cool, don't you think? Actually, having said that, when you look up, it's this beautiful spread of branches. So that's going to be my second shot. I'm actually really enjoying myself this morning. Being away from home, being away from the Lake District, has freed me from the pressure that I would normally put myself under. And that's allowing me to experiment with things and to try things that I normally wouldn't try. As I've been walking along, I've spotted this old cabin here. I seem to remember this being here when I used to come as a kid, and now it looks like it's all closed off. Now I think there could have been a shot here. I like the cabin itself, and I love this tree behind it, this beautiful orange colour. But the reason I'm not going to take this shot is the foreground. From where you need to stand, there's an awful lot of scrubby old nonsense right in the foreground. And for that reason, I'm not going to bother with this one. Everywhere that I look, I see these small saplings, like this one here. And they make a great subject. They're much, much, much easier to isolate than the bigger trees. And as I've been going along, I've been looking for one that has a very dark background to really make those colours stand out. I haven't found one yet, but I'll keep looking. Up until now, the sun has been very low in the sky, and I've been protected from it by the trees. But it's now 9 o'clock and the sun is getting higher in the sky, and I'm starting to get light on the scenes that I'm looking at. Now this is going to do two things. The first thing it's going to do is it's going to make my exposures much harder, and I'm going to have to work quite hard to balance my exposures. I might have to use my polarizer or even bracket some of my shots. But the other thing it's going to do is it's going to open up a whole new set of possibilities, and I'm going to start being able to play with the way that light is falling on the trees and the leaves. now that the leaves have got light on them, the colours are even more vivid. And I haven't been able to find a composition that makes the most of that. So I've come off of the main path and I'm now heading deeper into the woods. I've decided to come off of the path and into the woods themselves, pretty much out of desperation really. And it's paid off almost immediately. I found this group of arrow straight trees and behind them is a load of yellow leaves which have been lit up. And I think this makes a really nice graphic composition. I put the telephoto lens on and I'm taking shots at 70mm and at 200mm. And I cannot decide which one I like the best. So as usual, let me know which one you like by answering the poll that will appear up here in the top right hand corner. I have to be honest with you, I'm a bit lost. I don't know where I am and I don't know where the car is. If I don't make it out of here alive, I think I'd like to record my last will and testament in the hope that somebody finds this recording. So I think I'd like to leave my camera body and lenses to Julian Baird so that he doesn't have to use Nikon anymore. And I'd like to leave my tripod to Tom Peters so that he can get rid of his pink one. It's okay, I didn't perish in the woods. In fact, I made it back to the car, and on the way home I was passing Wendover Woods and I thought I'd call in, because when I was here yesterday I didn't get a chance to shoot here. Once Mike and I had finished the interview, it started to rain, so I headed home. Now, so far at Ashridge, my approach has been to take a long walk and to see if I could find any compositions. And if you think back to last week's video, that wasn't very successful for me. And what I actually found out last week is if I concentrate on a much smaller area and really go in search of the compositions, I'm much more productive. So I've got a couple of hours now until the sun sets. And now that I'm at Wendover Woods, I'm going to focus on a much smaller area and see if I can come up with anything else. We're going to play a similar game to the game that we played last week. What I'm going to do is spend a bit of time shooting some B-roll, and then at the end of it I'm just going to pick one composition and see if you can guess which composition I go for.
I won't get close to your heartache if you won't open your door. I'm feeling kinda lost when your mind is hiding whatever that is choking your chest. I can see it in your eyes that you're shaking 'cause you're holding it back. Maybe you'll make up your mind, now I'm here by your side. So let it all out of me. Let it all out of me. Oh, I will hold you in the dark, make you forget about what's wrong.
So that's me done. I've exhausted all possibilities. So the question is, which composition did I pick? Well, here it is.
Let it all out of me.
So, did you guess correctly? Now, I'll be honest with you. At this stage, I don't know which image I've selected. So if you want to know why I've chosen it, you're going to have to head over to this week's blog. There's a link in the description below.